So, Nando V Movies, a channel that I enjoy watching, made a video called A Final Scene, where he went over the ending of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, a movie that I thought was incredible. I saw it about 4 times in theaters, a few more times when it came to streaming. Anyways, he put out a message asking for others to create a video about a final scene of something that they enjoyed, and many of those followed movies. But I thought to toss my hat into the ring with one about a video game, because, well, while you're looking at that, would you kindly click the subscribe button? That'd be really nice. Now, when it comes to choices of incredible final scenes in video games, you have dozens of examples to pick from. I mean, Halo 2's finishing the fight, or Halo 3's Wake Me When You Need Me. You had the final stand in Red Dead Redemption, or finding out about the numbers in Black Ops, the complete twists in games like Shadow of the Colossus, or Silent Hill 2, or Dead Space, cliffhangers like Half-Life 2, or The Darkness 2, the list just goes on. So, out of all of these great choices, and many more, which game's final scene is the one that stood out to me the most? And if you read the title of this video, you already know the answer, but I sat and thought about an ending that truly stands out amongst others, and the game that I kept coming back to was Unravel. So why this game? Why this small puzzle game compared to some of the major blockbusters that I just mentioned? Why does the ending of Unravel stick with me to the point where my Xbox background is a picture of Yarny, and I have a handmade figurine of him that sits by my computer? Well, let's talk about it. Now, to give a quick overview of the developers, because you have to give credit where it's due, this game was developed by Coldwood Interactive out in Sweden. Now, before Unravel, this small studio of only a handful of developers worked on small, low-budget games like Ski Racing 2006, Move Fitness, The Fight, Lights Out, and Bad Company 2. Now, when they... Wait, Bad Company 2? Like Battlefield? Wait, hold on. Huh. Well, anyways, after working on small sports games, and apparently also the best Battlefield game, the team decided to make a puzzle game that takes place in Sweden, and was inspired by a toy doll that the director made while they were out camping. And from that, Unravel was created, and it was impressive enough to EA that they published the project. This game was presented at EA Play's 2015 presentation, and you can see the emotion behind the creative director himself when he's talking about the game. And that alone should show you the passion that went behind this project. Now, when it comes to the story of Unravel, something unique about this game is that there is no dialogue. Not in a way like the early LEGO games where the characters would mumble, or games where the people are speaking in a made-up language, or ones where the protagonist is silent while others speak. In Unravel, no character ever says anything during the game. Now, that isn't exactly too difficult, with the grandmother and the granddaughter only being on screen for a few moments, and Yarny, you know, not having a mouth. So instead, the story is told by the music that accompanies the player as they make their way through the game, the visuals and memories that play in the background, and Yarny's reaction to the world around him. The game opens with the grandmother cherishing family memories and making her way up the stairs. As she reaches the top, a red ball of yarn falls from her knitting bag. It rolls off screen, and that becomes Yarny. The first level of the game has Yarny leaving the house and is in amazement to the world around him. There's cheerful music, the level is brightly lit, and we see the memories of the grandmother playing in the background, where we see her as a child. Yarny leaves the house and yard with Yarn trailing behind them. Playing with flowers and flying kites, the level ends with Yarny finding a little memento made of yarn that they pick up and put in the photo book back in the house. As Yarny makes their way through more levels, we see the story of the grandmother continue. First few levels are cheerful and full of happy memories, like her going to the beach or hiking with her family, but eventually the memories get darker, as we see the forest get ruined from industrialization that the grandmother protested at, and the wake of the destruction left behind the toxic waste. In the third act, we see the grandmother meeting and marrying the grandfather, but at the end of one of the levels, as Yarny makes their way through an old garage, we find out that the grandfather had a sudden heart attack, with that level's memento being a broken heart. At the climax, Yarny is at a cemetery where they are cold, alone, and having to wade their way through snow and harsh winds, only to find another broken heart memento. When Yarny goes to grab it, the wind blows it away. Determined, though, to grab onto the broken heart, Yarny chases it, only to jump and unravel completely before being able to catch the badge. As the camera lingers on the broken heart, a gloved hand comes into frame and scoops it up. Next, Yarny awakens in a bright world where everything is glowing and beautiful, and there's triumphant music playing as they make their way through, with these little lights that help lift them and traverse them through the level, ending with Yarny making his way back to the house that they initially left at the beginning of the game. Yarny is finally able to connect the broken hearts, but they hear someone coming, and they pretend to be inanimate, like something out of Toy Story. We then see a little girl come in. She picks up Yarny, smiles at them, puts them back down, and the granddaughter makes their way out of the room. Yarny then picks themselves back up, connects the broken heart, they open the memory book, and the game ends. Now, I want to break down this final scene, as well as my interpretation of the story. I felt like the opening scene was the final moments of the grandmother's life. She was looking at all her happy memories, her family, and everything that she went through, and when she went upstairs to sleep, she passed away, with Yarny being her soul living through her life just one last time. As Yarny goes through her memories and shows both the happy moments and the struggles that she went through, the love that she gained and lost, Yarny always left behind them a line of red yarn that showed no matter where they went in life, they were always connected to their home. As one of her final memories plays of her thinking of the grandfather and the broken heart she had when he passed, Yarny, who I have interpreted as the grandmother's soul, is picked up by this mysterious hand that brings Yarny to a bright and peaceful place, where they are then guided back to their house to connect the two hearts, each half being one of the grandparents. The granddaughter, making her way in the room and holding Yarny, shows the player that the grandmother may have passed away, but life continues, and the granddaughter herself will go through such life-changing memories throughout her own life, just like the grandmother. I thought this ending was just amazing. A culmination of the cheerfulness of the innocence of youth, the dark part of humanity, and the harshness of the real world, followed by comfort and growth as they reach adulthood, to the feeling of pain and loss as they reach their elder years, to then the grandmother being reunited with her love, and the sight that life continues. All of this being told with not a single word spoken, but instead through the visuals and music, the same music that I've been using in the background of this video. This game is truly an example of a picture being worth 1,000 words. This final scene is one that has truly stuck with me since I first beat it back in 2016. I thought the game visually was great. The music on each level was perfect. I still play the soundtrack. The gameplay, simple but fun. And I loved this ending so much, and the story in general and the meaning that I took from it, that I have a handmade Yarny that I have always sitting with me at my computer desk. I have been bringing this Yarny with me as I travel across the country, going through my own happiness and loss and creating my own stories. Because as the great Andrew Ryan once said, we all make choices, but in the end,
our choices make us.
Now, I know the developers have a different explanation for the story, where it's about mending a broken bond. I just didn't really see a bond that was broken. I mean, the grandmother looked cheerful, and so did the granddaughter, but this is just my interpretation, and isn't that what art is about? The individual's interpretation of the piece? I mean, the creative director said so himself, and art is all subjective, so, like, maybe subscribe.